People people wonder, what does God want? Um, at the moment I'm probably at my lowest, or my most simple life I can live. Down there, see down there? That's my best friend. That's Trigger. I value his company as much as I do a person. When I was in hospital, I couldn't really talk to anyone. I was laying in the sunroom, and I was so filled with discomfort and pain and grief and agony, I couldn't tell anyone because I was scared it would increase if I told anyone. And I was at my limit. I was past my limit of what I could cope with. And I looked across, there was a little fly on the window. And at that time, that fly was just as important company as any person sitting in that room with me, because they were providing, that fly was looking at me and washing itself, and it'd dance across my arms, and I valued that fly as much as I would any person sitting in that room, And, I think ultimately, given different situations, human beings or animals or objects, or even just the wind sometimes is our friend. A tree, when I was really unwell and I couldn't handle anyone touching me or coming near me, I'd lay out on a table bed sort of thing I constructed, and I'd let the willow fronds or branches that were hanging down brush over me like a massage, just gently caressing my back while I laid there. That's all I could handle at the time. It filled that need to a certain degree. I mean, even human beings have trouble sometimes filling your needs. And but that tree at the time was my best friend. It was being a nurturer. It was helping me. And in there somewhere was a signal and a response that somehow it kind of knew, there was a sort of a bit of knowledge, a bit of acknowledgement, and it sort of just kept brushing me and providing a bit of comfort. And that was coming from the tree, that comfort, If there was no response, I wouldn't have felt anything. So it was a living thing, providing a bit of comfort to me, like Trigger does. He was my comfort dog. Not officially written on paper, but I accepted him as a comfort dog at the time when I was living in Preston, and I was incredibly unhappy and unwell, and so I got him as a little friend, a comfort dog, to sit with me and even lay on my bed. I needed some companionship to cuddle, and he doesn't do that now. He's big now, so he lays on the floor, but even that painting on the wall I probably showed you, it's my little comfort. I don't have a girlfriend, so she's laying there on my bed with me in a way, just beside me. Just naturally, there's nothing really erotic about it. She's just lying naturally, just staring up the wall like I would. As much as I can do at the moment, given my income, my situation. When people say, what does God want, God wants a real woman next to me. God wants my friend sleeping over on the floor, or God wants to sit with me in the sunroom and talk to me. A person to talk to me in there. Someone beautiful that I really love and admire and is beautiful to me, and I can cuddle. And animals, they feel a need, they're nice to have around. But Trigger, he should have his family. He should be with his family. He should be with his partner. He should be having his children. We're very selfish the way we just take them away from their family and keep them. I mean, we're all trying to cope on a planet that's in turmoil, so we'll do what we can. But what God wants is for the world to improve and heal and get better. I'm not saying it's always going to be comfortable. You're going to be confused. There's going to be times you won't know what to do, and you'll be panicking, and you'll be unhappy, and you'll be fighting. But there will also be great times when that's over, where you're cuddling and you're together, and you're cooking meals. And I just want you to realize that life can be better. That it doesn't have to just keep getting worse, or we don't have to just keep following the progression of technology, which is ultimately an act of warfare. Technology, it's built for warfare. I mean, even these computers, I don't understand them because they're built for warfare. They're built to control our lives, to steal everything from us, to dominate our lives, and to basically ruin them and to kill us. And a lot of people accept that's the meaning of life, to live and to die, but I don't accept that. I think you can become a greater being that can overcome death, because you only get one chance. That's it. You only get one go. So why not take that chance and actually learn what's from everything that's written and everything that exists, and try and find heaven, or try and find a reason to be rather than just to die. I was thinking earlier about something. I can't think what it was now. Now I've said all that. Oh, that's so annoying when you can't think of. I was seeing all this Facebook stuff, all this, TikTok. I've never been on TikTok, but it's just short videos, isn't it? I mean, be like Twitter, that's short sort of bursts of thought, little tweets or X's or whatever you want to call it. Kisses, are they? YouTube, where you get to do a bit of a video. I probably like YouTube the most. You can just put your thoughts down on video, generally. I mean, sometimes you feel like you're not getting through to anyone, but I'm still recording, yeah. And, there's, I suppose there's, the reason we're here really is, I sort of want you to feel reassured that God's work's done, but you still have to play your role. You have to play your part. You have to perform your script. You have to, play your part in the world. And I'm doing as much as I possibly can with what I have. I can't do much more without actually causing harm to myself, or just getting myself in too many problems. Like if I go out of my way to try and do something and I don't have the money or something, I'll get caught out somewhere or trapped, and I'll have to get back to trigger. I have a few responsibilities. I have my fish, I have my plants. I can just wander off to nowhere just on a whim and just sit under a bush anymore. The people that probably do that, maybe they end up homeless. They lose their home because people think they're not there or something. So I'm always conscious of that, because I've been through that part of my life, the messy bit, where everything's chaotic and nothing goes right, and you sort of iron out those problems. You learn how to sort of deal with the stupid bits, like running out of petrol along the highway and having to walk all day to a town. I've done that so many times, I got sick of doing it. So I thought, right, from now on, if I'm somewhere and I'm half empty, I'll fill up so I don't run out. But people like myself who've seen through the lie is almost like a spiraling sort of, they call it a wheel of karma. It's almost like just a blame game, it goes round and round and round. Who's to blame? All these things have happened. It's not my fault, it's their fault. But they did that to them, and that goes around, and it goes around and around and around and around. Who's to blame? Who's to blame? Who's to blame? I ended up blaming myself for everything, and then I realised I wasn't to blame for anything. So it sort of went away. It was like I stepped off that karma wheel of karma, and then that's when I noticed heaven, and um, it was like a little doorway no one else could see, and I walked through it. And ever since then, I've felt either my body hurts still with tension because it's full of chemicals because I'm not married. I accept that these are the ways a single man feels. This is how a single man feels. Their desires to push you on to actually find a partner, and then it's like when I first met my soulmate, or whatever you want to call her, that girl I met. Um, those feelings just went away. I felt good for a sudden, all of a sudden all the pain went away. There was a bit of hope in my life. My heart went, oh, maybe there's someone I can love, a person out there, that it's like me, or I didn't feel there was anyone. I'd given up. Um, so I accepted that's the way a single person feels, and it's almost like inside of you, all that pain and everything, is something going on all the time. And then you get to do whatever's on your mind, and then that pain goes away because you're fulfilling that desire that's building up, all those thoughts that are building up, because your head gets full of thoughts and that. And so you have to go and do them all. And it's like when you get cooped up at home for a week. Because I ended up the week with no money. I have to sit at home watching movies or something. I'm trying to find a job and I can't really find anything suitable. So then all of a sudden I have to burst out my car and take off up the road, and I don't really know why I'm going up the road. It's sort of like to get back in the flow or something. I don't know. I go to the shops and I get some food, and I have to go up miles out of town and round and back again. It's like I have to do all the things I missed out on that week, all in an hour. And that's because we don't have the money to live on. If I had the money day to day, I'd be doing all the little things I need to do, and it costs a lot of money to live. I don't think people realise that the cost of living is very high to day to actually do the things you need to do in the day. And you can't just do it all working, To get a job, you need a lot of money. Anyway, I won't harp on about that. There was some other point I'm trying to get to. People say, what does God want? Um, God's like a prophecy in a way, or like a fulfillment, a work. The world. There's something wrong with it all. Like it's something that was going on, and I suppose I came to notice all that. I started out noticing it, patterns. I saw what was wrong. I saw the cause of what was causing it, and I put things in place. People say, don't do that. Let the world die. Let the world, but then we won't exist. So that God grows to accommodate that healing process. It's almost like your biological reaction in your body. If you take something to inhibit that, you're going to end up with big sores and you lose your limbs, and then where will you be? We don't want that for the earth. We don't want to lose its limbs or its lungs or whatever makes it turn. We want it happy and healthy and turning, and whether it's a happy marriage in a family, or you know, there's planets out there that are 100 times bigger than Earth. You know, Earth is pretty small, you know, and we have to be careful on it. But God also wants you to go out and practice what you know, do the things that you know without being too destructive, you know. You don't come into your house and set it on fire to know how fire works, you know, burn down your home. You build a little fireplace, you build a space for that to happen, and you enjoy it, and you have your marshmallows, and or you cook on the stove, and you light your little gas burner. You don't just burn down your home to warm your feet, do you? So that's what we're doing at the moment. We're burning down the world. We're digging it up. We're using it all up to build a box, an electronic box to put ourselves in, so we can torment ourselves in a matrix or something. It's kind of a form of insanity where we're obsessed with our ingenuity, how amazing we are, you know, and really we're not. We're just being idiots, wasting time, killing our world to play computer games or something, you know. It's almost like war games, you know. We're playing war games with ourselves just to say, look how good I am. Look, I can shoot dead 100 people in 5 seconds or something, you know, with this machine gun. Or it's not very ingenuity. It's not very ingenious. Or what about how many trees you can plant on an acreage to provide a home and shelter for millions of different species of wildlife? And I'm just urging you to take that view, to have a planet, to enjoy it, to have beautiful food to eat. We don't have to produce it all with a factory and go, oh, this is horrible, I don't like this food. Or you're out picking juicy fruit from a tree that's like meat that's been cooked by the sun, that's dripping off out of your hand, and you eat it like it's a saucy sort of pudding or something, which is how the world used to be at some stage. All the fruit was very fulfilling. You know, we didn't really need to eat our flesh. You know, we could eat the flesh of trees, and it was just, you didn't have to make food. You just go pick a bit, and then you're happy and you're healthy. Now we're into processing with our ingenuity, how smart we are, you know, and we're killing the very thing that keeps us alive, you know. But you know, as a god, or whatever you want to see me as, an angel, or a helper, or a human being, I want you to go out and ride your motorbikes, and I want you to go out and enjoy the outdoors and enjoy what you can do. Because when you get to a bigger planet, you'll have to do it on a larger scale and really enjoy it then, you know, without being destructive. You don't have to destroy the environment to enjoy it. You don't have to burn down a whole forest to build a few houses. Keeping a rainforest and building houses in a rainforest, it won't catch fire because the moisture keeps everything damp. So clearing too much natural environment, you lose the animals, you lose the food sources, the fruits, the vegetables, the natural biological processes to create new ones, to develop new species. And that's what forests and animals do. They keep progressing, and their ingenuity is biological, you know. Ours is technological at the moment, and it could be biological. And that's what I'm trying to push, that there's this confusion over God, that somehow it's something to be shamed, and you shouldn't be a god. No, God's over there somewhere else, and we're humans, and there's a divide. There isn't. It's inside of us. It's our inheritance. It's our right to grow bigger and bigger and bigger, and being stronger and being more powerful in not in a sense of dominating anyone, but just being personally healthy, you know, and happy, and caring and loving, and all the good qualities that blossom life, rather than dominating and spying and conspiring trying to dominate others and kill others and things that destroy life, you know. You don't have to be that way. And I believe the dead and the people in hell who are trapped and suffering forever are depending on the people like us to save them. You know, I mean, we're the ones that have to learn through our ingenuity, through our spirituality and our body and our self, because technology will never do it. It's our own self, like the biology of the forest and the animals, that they're sort of, we're part of that. We can be part of that naturally and happily on our planet, or other ones we find. But it's up to that part of us, our superpower, our God power, our superpower, our power within that transforms us, which I've witnessed, I've seen it. And it happened to me with a friend. I saw it in a woman's eyes. They turned to shards of crystal. And I knew it was my own spirit bonding with her in a very unique way. And it just blew me away that this was possible. That was one of those moments that I just saw, oh my God, you know. And I saw it, no one else saw it. I don't think she even saw it. She sat there staring with 2 shards of crystal coming out of her eyes like that. And I knew it was a strange relationship that I'd bonded. I just wanted to see what would happen, you know. I don't think it affected her after that. But it was just that moment. I won't tell you who it is or anything, but yeah, it was just something I did. It was nothing she did, or it was something I did to her. I put God in her heart, and it came out of her eyes like that. She had beautiful eyes, and yeah, it was like a superpower, and it looked like you know, the Superman crystals coming out of her eyes, you know. And so I knew sort of sometime after that I had a superpower. There was something different about me I'd found and developed, and I think one day the earth will become a bigger, stronger place and sort of have that quality. And I urge people to be good and accepting of it, and just keep your eye out for things and changes, and just accept it. And because it's not a threat. It's like a better world coming into being. You know, and it's something that people wouldn't expect, because we're dependent on the fact that we're just into technology, and God isn't us. No, we're just human beings that live and die. We're just flesh. There's no reason for us. Technology or robots taking over, that's the reason, so they can rub us out of existence and exist with no consciousness, and the world will be a machine. Is that what people want? Just a matrix that just harvests human beings for energy? It's just insanity, and thinking that's what, you know, we somehow want. It's a process in probably a handful of people's heads that think it's cool or something. No thanks, I don't want that. I want my superpower to rule existence, you know, the natural biology of human beings. That's what's within us. That's what comes out in our dreams and our imagination and our fantasies and our thoughts. So go out and enjoy, do what you do, just don't be destructive, you know. Don't let off bombs. You don't have to do that. Firecrackers are enough, you know, having a bit of fun, having some parties. You know, people are probably too traumatized over in those third world countries to let off firecrackers. So don't. Just do other things like plant trees, and put some trees out in those deserts, and give the animals a place to come to. You won't have to breed up so many sheep. You can just you know, do other things. Make a natural habitat. Put your energy to use to improve your lives, and then you won't feel like blowing. Oh, sorry for being insensitive. You won't feel like exploding things. You're unhappy with your environment. You're causing reason to want to blow up your homes because you don't like them. You know, you're looking at us feeling, not us, but other people with Hollywood or whoever with big mansions, that somehow they've got something you're missing out on. But it's nothing. It's a bigger version. They've just moved on a bit in life to a point where they're probably ready to leave Earth and build bigger space stations and things. They're learning their lessons to get to where they want to be, and I don't just aim at the Middle East or wherever, but wherever you are, you know, we start out tribal, building a teepee or a humpy or whatever. And we learn different trades and different things to make our lives improve, and that's just the course of a human life. And so, if you're tribal or that's your history, your recent history, don't feel that we're doing anything different. We're just moved on a bit further, you know. And it's nothing to be ashamed of where you are in life. It's like look at Trigger. He's where he is. He's dependent on this home or on us for his food and everything. He's like a child, you know, just starting out, a little baby, and that's what most animals are. I mean, without their forests and things, they're nothing. They'll just die in the desert. They're like dependents too. I mean, a lot of us are dependent on each other, but so Trigger's back there. He's not even tribal yet. He's just trying to be a dog. You know, he's trying his best to be a dog. It's not natural. He doesn't know. He's just come into the world of dog, and he's trying to know what to do. He's depending on us to help him know. You know, what do I do to be a dog? Do I have to pick up my own shit? So there's nothing wrong with teaching your dogs how to do things. And Trigger sort of learns on his own. He's starting to learn about traffic now. He's only about 11 or 12, so he's only like just starting high school. You know, he's a young dog. So you know, he looks old because he's been through the mill. You know, he looks like a craggy old man because he's suffered. But we're all living on the same sort of time frame. You know, most animals and humans probably live to about 100. You know, there's no reason a cat can't live to 100, but they spend their whole life pining for the family they've lost. How would you feel being an orphan, being kicked around and fed and ignored and patted constantly and poked and everything? You'd be a fucking nightmare by the time you're 10 years old, you know? So, you know, in a perfect environment, a cat with all its family and a happy environment where it feels safe, it'll probably live to 100. So just food for thought, you know. Animals don't really understand medicine yet. Some Aboriginal tribes don't even understand modern medicine, and how it works. And so imagine what animals are going through. So don't always poke them with modern medicine. Let them guide them in how to do natural things to help them get well. I mean, probably the biggest help is taking an animal for a swim in the ocean. That does clean up a lot of problems, getting a little healthy bacteria into their body to clean them up. They rely on the bacteria out of eating dog bones in the dirt and things, gets little bacteria in their body to good bacteria to fight diseases. And it's like all of us. If we never faced with diseases, our body never learns how to deal with it. So it's good to have some connection with a bit of dirt and a bit of life, a bit of trees and bark and worms and bugs and shit, you know, like that, to keep healthy and strong. Even COVID will end up sort of petering out. I think we'll end up stronger than that, and it'll fight though. It'll fight for its right to exist, you know. So just be kind to it. If you've got COVID, have some oranges, build up your healthy acids in your body, because COVID will fight your acids and your DNAs and your problems and your mRNAs, and they're all acids and things that help create DNA, and it'll sort of battle that and try and give you that slow fatigue. And if you're kind to it and you're kind to diseases and you find ways to relate, like my recent comments on rabies, maybe sitting with the rabid dog, tie it up so you're not going to get bitten, but just gently offer them the back of your hand to smell and see if you can give it a little pat, you know, just gently. Don't get bitten. But if you've been bitten by a dog and you've got rabies and you're going crazy, spend time with the dog. And you don't want to sort of touch the rabid areas or the wounds or anything, but if you give out good pheromones are your friends to relate to small bacteria and things. They're like your little agents that go out to fight diseases, and they're like your there's a word like liaisons, you know, they're your liaison officers that communicate with different things and other. So if you're sitting there having good pheromones and there's a good feeling between you and the hurt dog, even when they fall asleep next to you or you fall asleep together, or Um, you're not going to catch rabies twice, but you don't want to get bitten. You want to stay safe. But it might be a way to cure that rabies. It might calm the infection down so it heals. And if that heals the infection and it leaves your body, and it's happy that it's it's not going to cause any more harm, because that infection's unhappy that you're harmed, the dog's harmed, you're all angry, and it'll calm down. If you're calm, the dog's calm, and it knows it's all right to leave. It won't work with AIDS because that infects all your cells, but rabies is just more a bacterial sort of thing. But yeah, it's just a little bit of friendly maybe advice solution that might help. I don't know. It's worth trying. I mean, I don't have rabies with Trigger. He's healthy, but if there's people out there going crazy and dying, it might be worth a chance to try and try it, you know. But anyway, I'll leave it there. I'm going on a lot, so I'll post that, and peace out. Live your life. Just don't be too destructive. Just respect the environment, and try and every time you do something destructive, try and make it a bit better than what it was when you left. When you arrived, you know, if you're going to leave, make it nicer than when you arrived, you know. Plant a few trees each trip you go on your motorbike. I don't know. Take a few natives with you and native trees and drop them off, and just plant a few out, you know. I don't know. You know, it might help if you rip down the forest to put two forests up instead of ripping down one. Put two up, you know. And I mean, when you rip down a forest, you destroy habitat. So think about that too. You're killing species of animals that the planet's depending upon. So the ocean's not going to forever provide that if you just keep fishing out the ocean too and destroying all that habitat. Because ripping out the floor of the ocean, you're killing off a whole biological habitat as well. So just think about it. It's not all just food. They're animals with families and things, and they'll provide food, but we've got to be mindful that we don't have to keep producing endless people either, and because we're not up to that stage yet of doing that where it's all sustainable. You know, we've got to be careful not to have too many kids, and you don't have to have kids. You know, you can live without it, but it is nice as you get older to have your family around you and people that care for you, and younger people in your life to look after you. But ultimately, without the planet, we're pretty screwed. So that's got to come first, you know. Anyway, have a good one.